we covered the first World Championship promo cards that were released from 2003 all the way up to 2005 in the last video of this series. In this video, we're going to be covering the second series of these World Championship cards, which spanned from 2006 all the way up to 2009. A lot of changes were made to the trophy card prizes as well as the trophies themselves. Some great thematic decisions were made. However, there is one decision that, in my opinion, really hurts the stock of these cards. So in today's video, we're going to be talking about the WCPS, not to be confused with the WCS World Championship prize cards. We're going to be talking about every single card that was released, showing off the artwork, and finally discussing any complimentary trophies that were handed out alongside them. So without further ado, let's get into it. Alright, so in 2006, the prize card system did not change very much from the year before. What you had was 2 gold place or first place winners that would receive their own exclusive card. This card was called Testament of the Arcane Lords, and it is coded WCPS-EN601. This trophy prize card was handed out in the same exact case that you saw in the preceding episode, which is a black case that is glued shut with pseudo screws that seem like they're holding the case together, however they are not. There are 2 copies of this card in the sealed acrylic and no other known copies to be loose. This card was handed out alongside a gold tablet trophy, just like you see here as well as in the previous video. Again, this adds to the total number of gold tablet trophies out there, which is estimated to be 6. Now for second place, you had the card called Armament of the Lethal Lords. This card was dubbed WCPS-EN602. This was handed out just like before to the second, third, and fourth place prizes. So there's 6 copies of this card in total in the black sealed case, and there are no known copies to exist outside of that. We don't know who owns Testament of the Arcane Lords. However, I do know a couple of people who own the armament, one of them being Nelson on Facebook, and then there's another one that's in a museum in, I believe, Vietnam. The one in Vietnam is a little bit faded. I'm not sure if the other one is faded as well, but these are the 2 that I know of. I don't know where the other ones are located. Again, with Testament, you're talking about $100,000 plus, and then with armament, you're talking about at least like $40,000 to $50,000. Now, for the qualifier of this World Championships, you had a reprint of another prize card that was handed out in the OCG years prior, and that is a super rare Asian English Seiyaryu. The estimated print run of Seiyaryu is around 1,600 copies for all of the people who qualified. So that's 2006. Now we're going to get to 2007, where, in my opinion, the quality and identity of these prize cards begins to depreciate. Alright, so for 2007, there was a couple of changes that were made. But first, let's get into the things that stayed the same. In first place, you were awarded 1 copy of Chimera, the Master of Beasts. Again, just like the years prior, you get 1 copy on the TCG side and 1 copy on the video game side. This card was coded WCPS-EN701, and again, it was sealed in a black acrylic. In second place, you got the card that I own, and it's one of my most prized possessions, and that's called Emperor of Lightning. Now, Emperor of Lightning seems like a more advanced version of Zaborg from Ancient Sanctuary, and I think that's totally badass. The artwork is super cool and it's super iconic, and although I like the fact that some prize cards are completely distant from any normal artwork from the Yu-Gi-Oh card game, this one, the fact that it's a little bit connected to the card game, gives it a little bit extra flavor, in my opinion. This one, just like the years prior, there's 6 copies of it, and they're all sealed in black acrylics. Emperor of Lightning has at least 2 copies that are completely sun bleached. I would say that Emperor of Lightning is one of the lower end World's prize cards. I would definitely say it's down there with like Armament and Mateo being one of the most available ones, but I can't be choosy here. I mean, I just want any that I can have, and this was the only one that popped up when I had the money. Now, in terms of the trophy that was awarded alongside it, there is a picture of a gold tablet. However, this tablet doesn't look like the ones that came before it. The ones that came before it, as you can see, are extremely detailed, and like the sculpt looks a lot cleaner. In the picture that you see here, you can tell like it's just a little bit more rough around the edges. I'm not sure if it's like a temporary tablet that they gave on the spot or what, but for some reason it just doesn't look as clean or as quality as the ones before it. So that's why people say like there's only 6 gold ones, there's 6 silver ones, because the ones that came out in 2007, they don't look the same, they don't look as premium as the original 6 did. Like again, I don't know what is going on. I don't know what happened at that time. If somebody that was at the World Championships could enlighten me, I would love to know. So that's the first bad decision I would say that we've seen in 2007, but it doesn't stop there. So remember how every single qualifier card was a reprint of a higher end Japanese prize card from back in the day? We got Seiyaryu, Firewing Pegasus, etc. Well, in this one, Konami just was like lazy or something, but they decided to reprint the last year's first place prize card as a qualifier, and this is such a mind-blowing decision in such a bad way. Like all of the exclusivity that Testament of the Arcane Lord had was basically gone, because now you have 1600 copies of the Testament of the Arcane Lord in super rare being handed out as a qualifier card. To me, like I don't know, like I would be so pissed if I spent like a ton of money to buy this card, or I spent my whole year practicing so that I can win this card, and then Konami just reprints it as like a promo to qualifiers. Like I don't know, I think that that's such a terrible decision. They could have easily come up with a brand new card that they could have handed out. There's no reason to print the first place prize cards. It doesn't even make sense because the second place didn't even get a reprint. So like the artwork in second place is rarer than the artwork for first place. Like where is the logic there? I don't get it. I really don't. And I think that this was one of the worst mistakes that Konami ever made when it comes to their World Championship prize cards. But rant aside, the code for the Chimera is WCPS-EN701. The code for the Emperor of Lightning is WCPS-702. And again, just like before, the qualifier was an Asian English card, and that was coded WCPS-AE703. One last change / Easter egg that was done for 2007 was they handed out a Get Your Game On promo card to the attendees of the World Championships. This card is quite expensive now and goes for at least like a few $100. Obviously, it's a reference to Jaden Yuki's Get Your Game On slogan that he says in the TV show. For the Testament of the Arcane Lord reprint, I would say it's about $1,000 sealed. It comes sealed in a plastic wrapper just like before, and it's relatively hard to find. I mean, it's not super hard, but it's also like not readily available as well. For the Chimera, we don't know where they are, and I'm sure they go for 100k plus. And for the Emperor of Lightning, like I said, 2 of them are faded. There's 4 others. One is mine. I know mine goes for around like 40 to 50,000 as well. So that's 2007. Now let's get to 2008, where the trophy quality goes down even more. So in 2008, in my opinion, Konami decided to up their game when it comes to the artwork that they're choosing for these World Championship cards. And there's a common theme that you'll see going forward in this series. And that is that first place usually has a gold theme embedded in it, and then the second place has a more silverish theme that runs throughout the card. You can definitely see it in the first place World's Prize card here, and that is Tyr the Vanquishing Warlord. This card is coded WCPS-EN801, and with this one, another change that occurred was they got rid of the black acrylic cases and the screws and all of that, and now you have a clear case that is pretty much like just sealed around the card. It is not to be confused again with like the Das Volska from Pharaoh Tour. This card can still be removed from the acrylic without damaging it. However, you'd be crazy to do that because this card is up for sale right now on eBay for around $140,000. So there's 2 of those, and for second place, the winners were awarded a card called Lorelli the Symphonic Arsenal. This card is coded WCPS-EN802, and this one, there's literally 6 copies of this artwork and there's no reprints. This card I can definitely see fetching over the $50,000 mark. The only one that we've seen is one that's owned by an Instagram user called Asian Yensation. Now again, they committed the same atrocity in 2008 that they did in 2007, and that is reprinting reprinting the first place world's prize card as a simple qualifier. So for 2008, we got Chimera, the Master of Beasts, coded as WCPS-AE803. This card lost all of its exclusivity from first place, and again, like, this is not to say like the first place world's prize card is cheap now. Like, it's not to say Chimera, the sealed copy, is cheap. It's just a lot of that flavor, a lot of that exclusivity is gone, and a lot of that identity as, like, you know, that first place from 2007 is gone because they reprinted the artwork. For Chimera, it's about the same price as the Testament at around $1,000 for the match winners, sealed in the plastic wrapper. In this one, there is no trophies that were handed out, at least not like anything cool like this. They might have received some crystal trophies, but like those don't really matter because you can just remake those whenever you want, right? These ones are a little bit more special, but unfortunately, there was nothing like that for 2008, and it never actually comes back after 2007. But now let's get into 2009, where one of my favorite artworks is featured as a World Championship card. Alright, so now we're on 2009, and that is the last year of the WCPS series, and the code completely changes. Everything changes after this year. So in this year, just like before, there are no trophies, or at least there's no significant or badass trophies. However, the first place prize card is quite cool in my opinion. I think it looks pretty badass, and it is called Agiba the Malevolent Shinsyo. I believe that's how you pronounce it. I might have butchered it. I have no idea. The artwork is pretty badass. Again, it has the gold weaved right through the artwork to represent that first place gold prize card, and that one also comes in the clear acrylic case where it's not black and there are no screws. I could imagine, again, this is another 100k plus card. I've never seen one, and I don't even know where they even are. Now for second place, this and Lorelli are my favorite World Championship prize cards. I like them more than the first place because, again, they're more exclusive. Although I like the Agiba artwork quite a bit, I think the second place, which is called Skuna the Leonine Rakan, is a much more exclusive card. I don't know, it just has a little bit more identity, again, because it's never been reprinted. A lot of people have never even seen these artworks, unlike the Agiba and the Tyr and the Testament of the Arcane Lords. They are held at a pretty mythical standard, and it has a lot more prestige than a card that you see a little bit more often via the reprint. Now Skuna, I could imagine going for around $50,000 to $60,000, and just like before, it has silver weaved in it. I mean, Lorelli has a lot of silver, like you can clearly tell this is a silver card. Skuna is just a little bit more mixed, but there's still a lot of hints for that silver metal type of look. One of the copies for this one is owned by Jackarade, and then the second copy is owned by Asian Yen Station. By the way, if you guys are interested in seeing Asian Yen Station's collection, definitely subscribe. I have some very juicy content coming up in the next year or so. And just like the years prior, it's the exact same code, WCPS-EN, except it's 901 and 902 for these two cards. Last but not least, we have the qualifier card for the 2009, and you guessed it, it is a reprint of the first place prize card that happened last year, or 2008, and that is Tyr the Vanquished Warlord. Again, you're depreciating the value, you're depreciating the identity and the exclusivity of that first place world's prize card, and I'm pretty sure that's why Tyr, Agiba, Testament of the Arcane Lords don't go for as much as things like Zexx or things like YuLevel. But I mean, that's pretty much it. There's really not too much more to cover. The trophies for these years are not really worth mentioning. I'm pretty sure they got some crystal trophy, the ones that you see like at soccer tournaments and stuff like that. There's nothing really unique about them other than the fact that they're stamped with YuGiOh. To me, I'm a big fan of the tablets. I do hope that I'm able to acquire a gold one day, and if I'm able to close a deal with Asian Yen Station for Skuna or for Lorelli, you will definitely see them on the channel at one point. So that's really all I have for you guys today. Hit the like button if you enjoyed this series. Subscribe if you want to see the next episode where we cover 2010 all the way up to 2020, as well as other infamous prize cards in the YuGiOh card game. Comment down below your favorite WCPS card. Tell me which one's your favorite artwork out of the 8 that I showed you today. I would love to know your thoughts. If you want to support the channel, you can pick yourself up your own Gardner binder. I still have these guys up for pre-order, so if you are interested in that, they will be on strictlysealed.com. Everything is made by a collector for collectors, so everything will be extremely high quality. You'll be extremely pleased. But other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope you learned something. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.